Hit it.
We're gone? Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Swim Bike Run Alabama, brought to you by Straight to L, microbrewery here in Huntsville, Alabama. We're here today with our special guest, Allie Meeks, ReadySetSweat.net. Allie, thanks for being here again today.
No problem. Good afternoon.
Doug Tinkham.
Hey, folks. Hey, we are back at Straight to Ale, and we are in the tap room, and it's a beautiful day here in Huntsville, Alabama.
It's almost like being on the couch at the house.
It's not bad.
We were just saying we should be on our bikes today. It's that nice out.
Yes, it's beautiful outside. Allie, you going to talk to us today about training suits?
Yeah, we thought it'd be a good time to talk about the best suits to train in, the best suits to swim in, some of our favorites and some of your favorites. So I thought that'd be a good thing to jabber about today. That's Doug's favorite.
Not mine, but
that's some of the other favorites. Well, so a lot of folks will ask me kind of what kind of suit is the best to wear, what brand they should buy or what type to get. And so I was just going to kind of talk about the ones that I like to wear and what I see people wearing that seem to have the best luck and I guess the best fit. So the first one I kind of wanted to talk about was guys' suits. So some folks that I'll see in the pool will start off wearing kind of like a Bermuda short or like a Jams type of short that's a bit baggy. And do you guys ever wear those when you swim?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because nobody likes to wear tighty anything.
I mean, at the kiddie pool, you really don't need a Speedo.
Right. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. But I was just going to recommend that one thing that can help you if you're doing swimming in the pool and if you feel like you're kind of dragging through the water is to go ahead and invest in one of those jammers type swimsuits. So the long knee ones if you're not as brave to wear the Speedo. So that helps you a lot.
I wear the jammers for swimming and also running. I like them to run in.
Yeah.
I mean, they're tight but not really compression shorts, and so I like jammers.
Yeah,
I'm a jammer kind of guy.
And they don't drag you down the way that the Bermuda shorts kind of do. I mean, if you have Hawaiian flowers on your Bermuda shorts, maybe they just make you fast because you feel cool. But
there's a guy at the pool that I swim at that wears jammers, and not the Bermuda type shorts. Yeah, he's very fast.
Yeah,
they don't slow him down.
He is. Oh, is that right? Yeah. Well, it can be. It can be hard to get your hips high, which is kind of what we want in swimming, is the hips to be high in the water if you have a suit like that on. So I always say start there. If you're having a hard time kind of swimming, and if you're a guy that seems to be a difficult thing, think about trying out a different suit. For women, the best kind of suit is the best kind that has the straps that kind of either cross in the back or come together and meet in sort of a T in the back, rather than the kind that wrap around the shoulder, because those kind tend to kind of fall off the shoulder when you're swimming, especially in freestyle. So I was just going to recommend, if someone doesn't have more of a Speedo type, or a Dolphin is actually my favorite brand. They have crazy colors and styles that have kind of a T in the back. Those tend to be a lot more comfortable, and you don't get that dreaded chafing from the suit that you can with some that are a little bit different. So
dreaded chafing.
The dreaded chafing, yes. Yes, the one thing that can happen in especially saltwater and for women is that you can get kind of chafing up on the side of your neck from your suit. So if you have a suit that has a thinner strap, sometimes up here at the top, that can be a good thing for reducing that, and something that's going to be tight and snug, but not so tight that it digs into your shoulder. So when you're looking for a suit, you want to try that on and go for bigger rather than smaller, and within the ones that fit snugly is kind of what I recommend. So what do you guys wear? What's your favorite thing?
I wear a strapless.
Yeah?
I'm just calling it a strapless for me, Doug.
There you go.
It is.
I usually just use my tri-shorts.
Yeah,
and,
that works.
Then I go to the bike.
Then off you go. That's right. And so the tri-shorts are great because they have that smaller pad in them. They're just not as thick as your normal bike shorts, and they just don't feel like you're running in a wet diaper. So
I don't need to give up the time for the change.
Yeah.
My fast co-host here.
Right. Like at Ironman, a lot of people do like to go ahead and change completely, and that takes a little extra time. So
what's your view? And I guess we swam open water last night, and we realize now that Chattanooga is going to be probably not a wetsuit legal swim. Mm-hmm. And so how about these onesies or whatever you can get from places like Bicycle Cove, that's not a wetsuit, but you get the neoprene. Mm-hmm. You get some advantage, I guess, using them.
Absolutely. Those are great. Nicest thing about those is no thinking. You put it on, you don't have to worry, what top am I going to wear? What bottoms am I going to wear? You just, like you said, onesie, you dress for the day and off you go. I think those are terrific, and they're cool looking. And I think that a lot of them now have this great fabric that's wicking, and they also have ones that are those extra cooling. I don't know how they do it. It's all science, but they have those.
It's like a
cooling
thermos.
Yeah.
Keeps hot stuff hot and cold stuff cold.
Exactly.
How does it know?
How does it know? Yeah, you seem not to sweat as much, and you get great sun protection because those have a full back to them. Unlike a lot of women wear tank bras or tank tops that don't have quite as much coverage in the back. And while that seems to be a little bit cooler, it can actually be hotter. You can get more of a sunburn than you can with those great tri-suits that they have.
Yeah, I learned something down at New Orleans. Doug and I did New Orleans 70.3 a few weeks ago, and they said that if it was not wetsuit legal, you could not wear compression sleeves or compression leggings.
I learned something else in New Orleans.
What'd you learn?
The sooner you finish, the cooler it is.
That's the key. Well,
Or the later you finish, the hotter it is more accurate.
It was just a little muggy down in New Orleans. Hey, Allie, we appreciate you being here. ReadySetSweat.net. If you're looking for some great coaching information, go and see Allie's ReadySetSweat.net. We'll be right back.
Well, no, we've got like 28 more seconds to burn.
Well, we didn't hit that in time, so.
Well, it was just a few seconds. So.
Maybe Parker can tell us the joke.
Give us your parting words of wisdom, Allie.
Parting words of wisdom. Don't wear something that has pockets in the back in the swim because they're just going to work like big, giant balloons. It's going to slow you down a lot.
There you have it, folks. Thanks, Allie.
Right. Welcome back, everybody, to another segment here on Swim, Bike, Run, Alabama. We have in the house today Drew Stanford. Drew is the brewer here at Straight to L Brewery, Lehman Ferry Road. And what we'd like to talk to you, Drew, about first is just the mechanics of home brewing. You were a home brewer before you were the brewer here.
Yes, I brewed at home throughout college for about 5 years before I.
Is that how you put yourself through college?
Well, you know.
Part of the way.
Maybe.
There's probably a statute of limitations, Doug, right. So don't be asking that kind of stuff.
It may or may not have been legal at that point.
Yeah. So tell us about the different styles of brewing. What do you have here at Straight to L, the different types?
Well, we offer a pretty wide variety of brewing styles. Even looking at our four main beers, our Monkey Knot, it's an IPA. Hoppy, we support the extra hops with a good malt backbone in that beer. We have a sweet stout, Lily Flag, two very different beers. We also offer a German-style Kolsch, very light, very low hop profile. And we offer a Brother Joseph is a Belgian Double, so it's darker in color, a little estery, fruity, good Belgian beer. So all four of those, it's a real wide spectrum.
It's unbelievable the knowledge it takes to brew beer, and obviously you have the knowledge for that. You said you were a home brewer in college. How do you then take a step from home brewing to become a brewer of beer?
Well, you start out sweeping the floors, and
it's just a bigger keg, isn't it?
Yeah, learning the equipment's the biggest hurdle. You know.
Okay.
There's a lot more volume involved.
So when you came in to Straight to L, were you under someone? Did someone tutor you or mentor you into the brewing process, or is it something you just learned on your own?
Yeah, I had a few good tutors and fellow brewers that help, bridge the gap between, home brewing as a hobby to move into a commercial environment.
Okay. And so brewing, I guess in a small batch, I guess it's just the mechanics of brewing in a large batch. But how did home brewing, how did that prepare you for what you're doing now?
Well, the basics and general knowledge of how things work when it comes from using the raw ingredients to produce the desired effect in your beverage.
I saw you guys moving some product in with a forklift, a giant, maybe a half-ton bag.
Right, and that's part of the main difference. You go from using, on a small scale system, 10, 12 pounds of malt to using 1,600 pounds of malt.
Absolutely.
For one batch.
Well, you've got the mechanics, just how to make the beer, but then you also have to have a creative side as well, and I guess that's where home brewing comes in. To me, you're a superstar because you've created this 5th anniversary beer here at Straight to L. Tell us about the development of it.
I've always had an affinity for Belgian beers, so doubles and quads. I brewed a lot on home scale, and the 5th anniversary is one that's developed and changed over the last 4 years or so, and we finally decided to, make it on a large scale.
We got to sample that last week. It was fantastic.
That may be the best beer I've ever drank in my life.
All right, well, good to hear it.
And that's something you started home brewing, and so you've just worked with the ingredients over the last few years, and tweaked it here and there, and
Yep, that's it. Just tweaked it till enough people convinced me that they liked it enough to.
It's going to be hard to keep in the store.
yeah, I think it's going to be a huge seller. Drew Stanford, the brewer here at Straight to Ale Brewery, Lehman Ferry Road. Drew, thanks for giving us some education, and thank you. My gosh, man, thank you for making that beer.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Okay, we'll be back next week or the next segment here on. Welcome back, everybody, to another segment on Swim, Bike, Run, Alabama. We're sponsored by Straight to Ale right here on Lehman Ferry Road, and we're actually at Straight to Ale.
Yep.
Man, is that a cool place to have a show or what?
Beautiful day. Got the garage door up. The fans are starting to roll in.
Oh, a fan.
Hey.
And that's all we need. We'll start with one. We'll water it. We'll treat it good. It'll grow.
I am an agronomist.
Yep. So I'm Parker Edmondson. I've got my good friend and co-host Doug Tinkham with me, and our special guest for this segment is one Mr. Rick Grive. Rick is a triathlete here in North Alabama, known statewide, worldwide.
Yeah, he is the triathlete.
He is the triathlete, and he has a new program we want to talk to him about, Try for Life. Rick, thanks for being here.
I'm glad to be here with my two favorite tri buddies.
All right.
Well, Mike Garrity now, it's got his feelings hurt, the Rocket Man.
Well,
but,
I meant right here.
Oh, okay, right here at the table. Rick, multi-time Ironman, you've been racing for years. What was your idea about creating this Try for Life?
I had coached for Fleet Feet Sports triathlon teams, the Tri 101, Tri 201 programs, for about 6 or 7 years. I was in on the ground floor of that, and Fleet Feet was generous enough to send me to USA triathlon certified coach training. So I did that and basically wanted to take the local triathlon community, as far as training goes, a step further by teaching more the form of the sport and really proper training techniques.
What type of training did you have on becoming a coach with the USAT?
It was actually a pretty humbling experience. Our instructors for that, it was a 2.5-day course, were some of the coaches for the USA Olympic triathletes. So, the knowledge base was unbelievable. The guys like Ian Murray, you read his articles in all the triathlon magazines. He was our swim instructor. It was a fantastic experience to be down there with them.
Did you get to do some training too, or was it all schoolwork?
That was all schoolwork, and while I was there, I was also fortunate enough to take another course on triathlon bike fitting, which I've been doing quite a bit of that recently.
Awesome.
I think that triathlon has grown so much, and there's some folks out there that I think would probably take advantage of being a coach. They just throw it out there, hey, I want to coach you, but it's great that someone has gone through the USAT training and you've got not only a life experience, you're training and racing as an athlete, but now you've gone to USAT, and how is that going to help you with your coaches?
Well, going through the USAT program definitely gives you credibility, but they teach everything about triathlon, and one of the things I'm trying to get across is the form that you use in the three disciplines. I'll do a underwater video assessment of your swim strokes. We do bike fit and run gait analysis. And the whole thing of this is to get people doing the three sports properly, so you don't end up getting hurt.
And so that's a key. I guess your athletes are across the spectrum on experience, or are they newbies, or?
What I'm trying to do is get people who have been up through the Fleet Feet 201 program who can complete an Olympic distance course, and then I'm trying to take them a step further to teach them the proper techniques, but also to be able to compete rather than complete a race.
Okay, and so for those that don't know, that are just getting triathlon, Fleet Feet had a very successful Tri 101 program, and that was for the newbies.
Right.
And then there was and that would be completing a sprint triathlon. The Tri 201, you would complete an Olympic distance.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so now you're taking them to another level.
Yeah, and it's just it's a step up of the Olympic distance to, like I say, to be able to compete. I want to produce people. I hate to say it, I want to produce people on the podium, but on the same token, I want to train people to do everything properly so they do not get injured and can do this sport for life. Hence the name.
You talk about bike fit. And that's probably one of the things we see most is poor bike fit in athletes. How do you think you get that word out? Maybe somebody doesn't want the full coaching, but that's I think a pursuit that needs to be taken out.
It
into
is.
the field.
People just refuse to take bike fit seriously. Newcomers into the sport, until they've had a bike fit. It's all about getting comfortable on the bike, but also getting set up to where you can deliver the most power and use the right muscle groups to save your running muscles for the run afterwards.
Still be able to walk.
Exactly,
Or
exactly. I distinctly remember my first triathlon ever, and I finished the bike, and I got off. I started to run, and I physically stopped and looked down at my legs because I thought there was something drastically wrong.
And there was.
Yeah, they were still there, but they were full of lead.
So you've got the coach training now with USAT, and you're coaching now how many athletes?
I've got 23 athletes right now, and what I'm trying to do is do group training sessions, just because I believe in the power of the group. You tend to pull for all your people that you're training with, and you create strong bonds that are, from what I've seen so far, lifelong.
Well, sure. We've trained together, we've raced together, and so I guess if you have a group of 20 or 25, those individuals can lean on one another when you're not available, and they can help one another, and that's all about, I guess, the triathlon lifestyle.
Absolutely, and I have to say, in my current group, I have one athlete who, she stands to be an overall race winner, and then I've got a couple others that are, honestly, they're out there trying to get through this thing, and the power and connection through those two ends of the spectrum it's phenomenal.
So this is your first year with Tri for Life, and we wish you many, many more years of success. We know you've been a tremendous athlete, a great ambassador for the sport of triathlon, and so we know that you'll change some lives. And Rick, we appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you asking me to be on the show.
Rick, can you come back next week?
Well, I'd love to, Doug, just to see you.
All right.
Well, we'll be back, Swim Bike Run Alabama, right after these messages. Wait, don't we have Rocket Man?
We're live.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another segment here on Swim Bike Run Alabama. And we're here in studio, and the studio is the Straight to Ale Brewery on Lyman Ferry Road.
And it is a singing studio, as we've got the Rocket Man who's going to belt out a few verses for us.
I'm a rocket man,
So
rocket man.
I should have
You
done that.
thought he wouldn't do it?
I
Hey,
did.
have you ever met this man?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the Rocket Man's with us. Everybody knows Mike Garrity as the Rocket Man. He is the race director for the Rocket Man Triathlon.
He shows up to August events wearing that spacesuit.
Well,
the man is a
and-
legend.
Oh, I've seen him in a Kentucky Derby outfit. I mean, he will come dressed for the occasion.
Worst Mike Garrity costume ever? The
Speedo, baby.
The
Speedo.
Speedo, that was bad.
Old school. That's how we used to roll.
That's it. That's how he rode.
Yeah.
The photo of him jumping into the water, the squatting, and that will. I will take that to my grave.
He was the sweeper on that swim,
Yeah.
and I'm not a good swimmer. And he ended up passing me, and as I was following through, I got a little of that Speedo, and it still plagues me.
Wow.
Mike remembers.
Yeah. And he's still saying it's an accident, right? So see, that's you got to work through it.
How slow do I
gotta-
have to swim to be the sweeper?
It was
Really?
the best day of Mike's life.
So by the way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see you have one job here.
One job.
Other than to carry the show.
I have no talent
You
at
push
all.
the button and
I
you
just
carry
push
the
one
show.
button. Mike's a race director. He's been race directing for how many years?
This will be the 6th year for me being the race director for Rocket Man.
Okay.
And this is the 22nd year for the event. Something new this year, we've got a new venue, and it's at Ditto Landing here in Huntsville. Very excited about it. We unfortunately had to depart our ways with the Arsenal as security got a little bit too tight for us. They were requiring things that we could not provide. And so we therefore had to move it to.
I think it finally got to stool samples. And so, at stool sample, it's just too much, Mike.
Yes, he said stool sample.
No,
I
I
thought he
mean-
was going sperm sample, so I was glad
Yeah.
it was stool.
Where are we going here?
Yeah. So anyway, you're off the base, and now you're down at Ditto Landing. Tell us about Ditto Landing for those who don't know.
It is going to be a beautiful venue.
and you gotta tell us
we've
twice.
got the greatest support from the city of Huntsville. Had to brief the deputy mayor, John Hamilton, back in January, early part of January, and Rick Greif joined me and Tony Osani for that briefing. Rick helped and put all the slides together for it, and it turned out to be a great briefing. They won it. They're all behind it. Huntsville Police Department, Madison County Police or Sheriff's Office, which is going to be on the opposite side of the bike route, will be providing security there. So,
Well,
it's
Ditto Landing is a park. It's a campground. It is a marina. What is it?
all of the above
Okay.
and more.
All right.
For those that wish to camp, it's right there. Unlike Rocket Man last year and the previous years, those who wanted to camp could not because they couldn't stay on the Arsenal. So if they were to camp, they'd have to be 15 miles away from the venue, that's as close as we could get them. But Ditto has a campground. They've got a pavilion up there overlooking the river. Beautiful site. So we'll have our food, beverage, and awards up there. Neeson Therapy will provide their, it's not massage, but it's whatever they call it, at post-race body work.
Post-race body work. All right.
Wow. All
Everybody
right.
Take
sign
that
up
as
for
your
that
right.
race.
There you go. So let's talk about the Ditto Landing. You're going to have transition there.
Yes, we have a huge area for transition, working still on the entrance to this swim, as we will be, unlike previous years, a time trial format. This year we'll have wave start, so it's a bit tricky getting into the river from the location, but Justin Carter from CNC Fabrication is putting together for us a ramp which we will use to get athletes into the water and have a wave start from the, while they're treading water.
Okay, so athletes will be in the water. The gun will go off. That wave goes. The next wave gets in, treads water until you tell them to go.
Right. And
All
we're
right.
looking at maybe about 60 to 70 per wave, 6 or 7 waves.
Okay, and so
Depending.
they swim in the river.
Correct. They'll swim, for those that have done Rocket Man in the past, they'll swim against the current for approximately 500 meters.
Oh, now that was ugly, Doug.
like a
I'll get
treadmill.
there. Hey,
Wow,
hang on.
That was ugly, Doug.
Hang on, I'm not done yet. They'll take a right, maybe 100 or 200 meters, and then come back with the current, 900 meters with the current.
That's if you ever get to the turnaround, right?
I probably won't.
Now, one thing, though, that Rocket Man was always able to do over the last few years, and that's to cut down the volume of water that's
Right.
going through.
Right.
So
That's kind of fun, though. Everybody talks about how bad that current is. It's never bad. It's never been bad at Rocket
You didn't
Man.
do it 2 years ago when you were up in Wisconsin doing your Ironman Louisville
Oh.
there. But, yeah, it all depends on the
I was in
rainfall.
Wisconsin
Yeah.
doing Ironman
Yeah.
Louisville.
yeah,
Sorry,
doing something.
doing some Ironman.
Yeah.
But yes, we have my swim coordinator, Dan Pline, is able to coordinate with TVA to reduce the flow however much he can. It depends on rainfall. But last year, if you did it last year, negligible current. So
Yeah.
The year I did
it's
it
pretty
wasn't
much a
bad.
lake out there, unless we get a ton of rain, which we don't normally get before the event.
I think I've done the Rocket Man 3 or 4 times maybe, and the current is negligible. So I know that'll be the conditions this year. So you go against the current, across, and then down with the current.
Right.
And then the bike will be where?
The bike is going to be an out and back on Hobbs Island Road. So it'll be 12.4 out. You'll hang a left right before you get to New Hope on Old Highway 431, go up about 2 miles, and then take a really sharp 180 turn coming back. And so it's an out and back.
Well, I don't know if you pulled the strings, but I can tell you there is new pavement out there on the road.
We did it.
Okay.
Rocket Man did it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now the crushed gravel, they're pressing into it right now. Who's in charge of that?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, actually, we biked on Saturday out through there, and there's just a lot of new pavement. It's going to be fast.
And for those of you that are concerned about the railroad tracks, especially heading back towards Ditto, as it's downhill and a slight curve, my bike coordinator, Robin Wallace, and her husband, Don, have plans to put plywood over it, carpeted, basically take out that speed bump, if you will.
Well, but it's like everything else. You know, the races are going to have their little unique features and concerns, and so the athletes will be briefed ahead of time. Listen, there's the railroad tracks. We're going to do all that we can, but be cautious. That 5 seconds that you lose on being cautious saves you, possible broken frame, broken ribs,
and water bottle,
puncture tire,
and water bottle left
losing
on the
your
road.
bottles. So be smart when you race.
Yeah, it's no fun to fall on railroad tracks.
Yeah. And so it's going to be a great fast bike. And so folks come back in the transition off the bike, and where's the run going to be?
The run is going to be all Greenway. It'll go parallel to the river. I think it's called the Madison County Greenway, almost a mile, and then back, and then kind of do a figure 8 and head north up Aldridge Creek Greenway for a mile and a half, 2 miles, and then come back and finish at the lodge or where the pavilions are.
Okay. Well, Mike, I know you've taken the hills out of the Rocket Man course on the run, and so it will be a fast run as well. You've done a tremendous job as the race director for the Rocket Man, and thanks for being here today. And we'll be back after these messages on Swim, Bike, Run, Alabama.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody, to another segment here on Swim, Bike, Run, Alabama. We're brought to you by Straight to L, and we're taping right here at Straight to L on Lehman Ferry Road in Huntsville.
In the tap room.
The tap room.
Not a bad place to be.
A great place to be. We got a special guest with us, Chris Levin from Bicycle Cove, located on 431 South in Huntsville. Chris, thanks for being back today.
Thank you, guys.
Chris, I was cycling over the weekend, and it was amazing, the group of maybe 20 that we cycled with, the different riding positions of cyclists.
Yeah, bike position is fast becoming one of the most important things that you can do to improve your performance, not just from a comfort and efficiency standpoint, but also aerodynamically. And so there's been a lot of research done recently. You see a lot of the guys in the professional ranks, whether they're triathletes or pro cyclists, who are putting a lot of attention to detail on the way that they interface with their bike, how they actually sit on it to be faster, more efficient, and more aerodynamic.
I know you see in the magazines, and obviously the professional cyclists and triathletes, they get to go to a wind tunnel, and we don't have that advantage here. But what, as a bike shop owner, can you impart for people on what's the best position for them to ride?
I think one of the cool things about all the wind tunnel testing that gets done for the pros, because it is not cheap to rent time in a wind tunnel, is you can take what they learn, all the general concepts, the little things that they do to their body, and apply it to real world athletes, the guys that just do it for fun, and the gals too. And one of the biggest things that they find is, we always thought that, you go really, really low on your bike and slam your stem and have your back as low as you can get it means you're going to be more aero. And what they actually are finding is it's actually about being more narrow than it is about being more aero. And so you see a lot of these guys in the pro ranks with aero bars really, really close together and their shoulders really, really tucked and just getting as narrow as possible. And that's what's going to improve your aerodynamics most importantly.
Those 115-pound triathletes and cyclists.
I was just thinking, I'm
Damn
done.
them. Yeah.
There's no narrow for me.
How come anybody likes to ride behind me and you, Doug? I mean,
They call me the mail truck in the shows.
I mean, you got a vacuum behind Doug. So yeah, I guess narrow is better, and that certainly benefits the smaller riders and triathletes. For us guys that are 6 foot like yourself, Chris, 6 foot plus, what can we do?
I think the most important thing is we all find that narrow is better or lower is better, but I always say if you're not comfortable, especially when you start talking about training for longer distance events, Olympics, halves and fulls, you got to be comfortable. And so you can do a bike fitting or go to a wind tunnel and you can get really, really aerodynamic, but if you can't stay there for a long period of time, you got to keep popping up out of your aero bars or sitting up to take a break, you might as well forget it. And so I always say comfort is the absolute most important thing you can address when you're doing any kind of fitting or position change.
I guess flexibility is a big component of that, how flexible the rider is.
Yeah, I mean, a rider's flexibility in their body essentially is what's going to determine how they can sit on the bike. And if you're not very flexible or you're not a really small 115-pound triathlete, getting narrow is going to be very difficult and getting very low is going to be difficult. And you might be able to do it, but you can only do it for probably 5 or 10 miles before you're just aching.
So what you're saying is run and swim faster.
Definitely.
If you can't get aero or narrow.
Run and swim fast and just enjoy the ride.
So we've got, of course, getting down in the aero position, having aero bars if you're a triathlete. But if you don't have that, then getting aero, do you want to just get down in the drops?
Yeah, that's a great question. Another bike company who actually owns their own wind tunnel, they actually did a bunch of testing on real-world athletes to find what is the most efficient position aerodynamically on a road bike, for example. And they found that it wasn't in the drops. You would think getting in the drops gets you really, really low and efficient, and it's not. It's actually on the hoods or your brake levers and just kind of tucking down, which almost replicates a triathlon or time trial position. And again, the reason for that, narrow.
Yeah, I guess I can see that now that you're saying that, is that if you're in the drops, your arms are separated, and so they're shoulder length apart typically, and so you're catching all that in air.
Have you watched Jody bump when she rides? Her back is flat, whether she's in the drop, in her aero bars or on the top of the bars. How does an athlete get to that point where you can stay flat-backed regardless?
It's a lot of work. A lot of work just taking care of the body, whether it's weight training, yoga, physical therapy. I mean, it does take a lot of work, and you can do any number of things to the bike to try to achieve that. And if your body can't do it, it's never going to happen without a lot of hard work.
I've been on dozens of rides with Miss Jody Bump, and I only see her at the rest stops. So I can't tell you how good a rider she is, but I know she's awesome.
Yeah, she's a good one.
Yeah. Chris, you do the bike fitting at your shop.
And I do, yeah. Bike fitting is a huge passion of mine. It's great because I can take people that aren't having fun with the sport and turn that into an enjoyable thing because they don't hurt anymore. So we do bike fittings.
Okay, so everybody wanting a bike fit or to get the latest information on cycling or triathlon sport, go down and see Chris Levin at Bicycle Cove, 431 South here in Huntsville. We'll be back right after these messages. Welcome back, everybody, to another segment here on Swim Bike Run Alabama. And this segment is sponsored by
We Run Huntsville.
We Run Huntsville, a website and Facebook page. They're located right here in Huntsville. If you're looking for a place to run or a new group to run with, check out We Run Huntsville. We have a special guest in studio representing We Run Huntsville, and that is one Miss Rachel Gelmas. Rachel, thanks for being here.
Hi, nice to be here.
Rachel, as you know, is a photographer, and she's part of the Gelmas clan. They come to a lot of events and support swim, bike, run events throughout the Southeast.
Some might say the hardest working Gelmas.
You could definitely say that.
Would we be lying if we said it?
I wouldn't say you'd be lying. I work pretty hard.
Okay. Well, tell us about your inspiration to get into photography.
Well, my dad was a sports photographer while he was in college. He took pictures for the yearbook. And then after that, he kind of took a hiatus from it. When I was about 14, I started taking pictures with just a little Canon Rebel camera. And he got back into it, started taking pictures at races because both my parents had been running for a while. And it just kind of evolved into this crazy thing that is now We Run Huntsville.
Now, what university was young Gelmas taking pictures at?
I think it was the University of Houston.
You are correct. The
Yes.
University of Houston.
Yes.
All right. So she got the first one right.
All right.
All right. Yeah, we knew that from Greg, as being on the show before. When you were in high school, you went high school here in Huntsville?
Yes, I did. I went to Grissom for a little while.
All right. And so at Grissom, did you take photos as well?
I actually didn't. The photography class had a prereq that I didn't want to take, so I just didn't do it. I didn't need to take it.
You're a freelancer.
So, exactly, yeah. I learned how to do everything pretty much either from my dad or on my own, so...
So the race where I saw all three Gelmi was the 5 Bridges, I believe, up in Chattanooga. Greg was there taking photos. Karen Gelmas blew by me in the run.
Is that the one you were talking about?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then Rachel Gelmas ignored me the one time that I saw her and would not take my picture.
You have that effect on young women.
Well, I have that picture on. I have that effect with a lot of folks. But, yeah, she was chatting it up with some folks as I came across the bridge, and she didn't take my picture.
In my defense, it was very cold and I was very tired.
And
so.
it was before 11.
And it was before 11,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah.
If they would race afternoons,
You're supposed to
she's your
say it was so long into the race that you figured no one else was actually running at that time.
See that too, yeah.
no one takes a picture of the sweeper.
I mean, come on. So you go to a lot of events, obviously, with your dad and your mom. And do you see this as something you could do long term?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like it a lot more than the boring retail job I have. I like being able to go to new places like Chattanooga. I had never been to Chattanooga before that race. And it's nice to meet a lot of people. It's gotten to the point where people actually recognize me at races, and they'll say hi to me while I'm on the course, and that's
cool.
It's great. It's a great feeling.
Do you do portraits or anything else? Or?
I do. I'm working on a website right now. I have some of my pictures on my Facebook page, but I don't want to turn that into my photography page, so I'm working on developing a website on my own.
Cool.
You know what she's also doing right now, and that's doing a music video, a slideshow for Lake Gunnersville Triathlon.
Fantastic.
I am. I'm in the process of doing that. I was supposed to finish it yesterday, but...
Well, you know, when you're getting up at 11 a.m., you know, there's only so many things you can
she
do
goes
during
to
the
bed
day.
at like 4.
Oh, probably 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you take pictures, and what else do you do creative-wise?
I am currently a graphic design major at UAH, art history minor. I really like doing anything art-wise except for... I'd say charcoal drawings, but other than that, I do pretty much everything.
I've got a charcoal story for you, but we've only got 33 seconds left in this segment, so that'll have to come another time.
Well, I say we can go through these 33 seconds and then go through the extended, the podcast, and
There
you
you
can just
go.
tell us that story. But listen, Rachel, we appreciate you coming in and working with us here on Swim, Bike, Run, Alabama. You're a great addition to it. You're a lot of help. You're very creative, and we appreciate not only what you do, but what your dad and Karen do for We Run Huntsville. We'll be back after these messages. We'll be back next week. See you then.